All right. Well, today I'd like to talk about the controversial topic of corruption. My channel is about speaking the truth from my perspective, so I'm going to offer you the truth based on my perspective. It's probably contrarian to a lot of the norms going on out there, but it is the truth based on my real life experience. It's not based on what I've read. It's not based on the people I admire who said what they think's right. It's based on my hard-earned experience. So, corruption. Corruption is a term that's looked down very badly in the West, even also in the East too, and also in every part of the world, Africa and so forth. But like everything, there are people who are benefiting from corruption and people who don't benefit from corruption. We'll speak about the benefits later. But let's just break it down to what corruption is. Now, there are two types of ways you can look at corruption. You can look at corruption as breaking the rules that is generally agreed by we the people. Or you can see corruption as a self-promotion of interest or promotion of self-interest. I tend to see more in Asia where the latter is true, self-promotion of interest. Because what happens is that in the West, majority of the population cannot participate in corruption. Only the highest level people that I see or see things being done in the West participate in corruption. That's why they call these backdoor meetings, backdoor channels, large payoffs. This is the reason why people with high net worths get away with a lot of things that poor people couldn't get away with even a fraction of it. And this is all based perfectly sensible based on the law system that is put in place in the West. Similar law system put in place in the East as well. The only difference between corruption in the West and corruption in the East is the corruption in the East, and also this is Africa and Latin America and in Eurasia and many other parts of the world. It's very democratic. Corruption happens at every level of society. And, you go to the Middle East, they ask you, bakshish, tip. What is a tip? Tip essentially is a corruption. It's like, hey, let me pay you a little extra so you can do things the way I want to get done. And not the way the rules get done. And I have to say, based on my observations, corruption is great for the developing part of the world because corruption gets things done. Corruption gets things moving. Whether the things are moving in the right direction or not, that's up to individual arguments. Every movement, every change will benefit one person or one group of people and will hurt one group of people. Everything. Nothing will be beneficial to everybody. And so is corruption. Corruption essentially is a social lubrication that gets things moving. Because in every level of society, and in every part of every society around the world, rules are made, at least based on my observation, rules are made not to benefit the needy and the wanting, but the haves and the people who are full in the belly. Because look at who makes the rules in the world, who makes laws in the world. And I have to say, even the most democratic countries, it's not the people, but the lawmakers. And the lawmaker says one thing to the people, but has a private interest at heart in the back. Now, of course, in democratic countries, there's a lot more check and balance in the system. So we make sure that the lawmakers don't go too much outside the boundary. But in the other parts of the world, this boundary doesn't really exist. Even in this supposedly democratic society of Africa, Asia, Latin America, the upper class of society, the 1%, makes the rules that benefit themselves. And you cannot rationally argue with me that that's not the case. Because even as children, when we play make-up games, what do we do as children? We instinctively make rules that are beneficial to our strengths and hurt the other side. We know that, even as children. Before we understand all these moral ethics, we do that. So what do you think we do as a grown-up adult? We still do it. We just know how to elaborately cover these things up with pretext, euphemisms, pretenses, all these other things. All these instincts that we have as grown up, we still have as all these instincts we have as kids, we still have grown up. We just learn how to cover up them more sophisticatedly. So, go back to corruption. So why do I think corruption is good? It's basically a petition for your self-interest. And that's what we do in every part of the world. We're trying to get ahead. So people use corruption to get what they need, the resources they need, the permission they need, whatever they need, so they can do what along. Now, I can only speak from business standpoint. And I think that at least from a business standpoint, I think corruption is a good thing. I'm not saying the business, whether the business done through corruption is good or not. I'm just saying it moves things along, it gets things done. Something that would take months, years to get a permit, to get established, like that, in corruption. Now, I spoke to a politician in China when I was living there, working there, and he told me something. This guy worked in the education ministry. He says, people say corruption is bad. People in the system understand corruption is necessary because the rules are there to stop people from doing anything. The rules are there to just say no to people. No, no, no. How many times do you get no in life? Everything's no, no, no. You're like, why are there so many no's in life? No, no, because yes means risk. No means safety. So why would people take a risk on you? Why would people do anything for you unless they have something beneficial to themselves? And that's essentially what corruption is. It's a petition for your self-interest. And look, I'm willing to put some money on the line, put my neck on the line to get what I want. This matters to me. And by helping me, you get something too. Now, if you look at that term, is corruption bad or is that corruption human nature? Right? In the West, we tip a bartender. And if we want to like some girl really, really well, we tip the bartender a little more to do something for the girl for us. Buy her a drink, and if you're in New York or some other not so great places, they even slip a drug for you. Now, I'm not saying judging this is right or wrong. Of course, it's wrong. I'm saying this is what we do. We tip the doorman. We tip everybody. This is all corruption. This is all corruption. So, I guess my case is this. Don't look at things through dogmatic views. Don't look at things because you heard someone you respect or some very dense book that tells you something's right or wrong. All of these are simply some guy's personal views. And these personal views can be self-interested and can be wrong. And certainly can be wrong for the time you're living in. Now, am I going out there promoting everyone to do corrupt things? Absolutely not. I'm just discussing a point of why corruption is not always wrong. And nothing's always wrong, just like nothing's always right. And that's just the way life is. The way life is great. And what I'm afraid of, the reason why I'm discussing this corruption is I'm fearful that dogma is for now becoming the norm in society as it was when World War I, World War II happened, all the other cosmic events. People stop thinking for themselves and they take some sound bites as the absolute God-given law, a truth. And it's not the case. Human life is great. And things, and you just have to go experience life for yourselves and put yourself outside the boundary like I have and see life other parts of the world, and hopefully you come to your own conclusion. And if your conclusion is that corruption is bad, forever bad, maybe. And the last thing I want to say is that I don't want to separate it so clearly, but essentially there are two groups of people in the world. There's the people who see things as gray and the people who see things as black and white. And the truly dangerous people are the ones who see things as black and white. Because there is no black and white. It's black and white is according to whom? According to you, according to me, according to everyone else. We all have our own definition of black and white, and often those black and white benefits us. And the revolutionaries, the ones who like to chop people's heads off, often use these black and white people to gain power. I'm sure everyone has their own definition of right and wrong, but going back to my point of being dogmas, being dogmatic is dangerous. Dangerous for yourself, it's dangerous for me, it's dangerous for the whole society. It's how society get pushed to the brinks. People shouting left and, right and wrong. You see that in the U.S. today. Less so in other parts of the world, but definitely in the U.S. And growing up in the U.S., I'm fearful for where this country is coming to. It's two extremes. Shouting each other and absolutely certain in their own truth that they have 100% their right. Same thing with religion, religious people. Whether it's extremists in the East, such as Muslim, or extremists in the West, as Christianity, they're both extremists, and they're absolutely certain they have the absolute truth, and they cannot see life as gray, as they have partial truth. Yeah, so that's the reason why I put out this video. I hope I didn't offend anyone. Hopefully I opened up some minds to at least explore what I just said as possibly an alternative to the absolute truth that's given in the media and elsewhere that I've read. Bye-bye.